So the theorist that I'm going to be talking to you about today is B.F. Skinner. Now, he is a very well-known and established psychologist and theorist. He's personally one of my favourites. Now, you'll have to forgive this very MySpace angle, but it is easier for me to read my notes that I have here. Now, Skinner was born in the early 20th century, around about the time where psychology was really booming. A lot of psychology theories are only around about some are even less than 100 years old. So it is a very new field with lots of work to do. But yeah, Skinner was at the forefront of radical behaviourism, which is what he called it. He advocated psychology that concentrates only on the relationship between environmental events and overt behaviour. So pretty much he was saying that personality is reduced to what people do under specified conditions in their environment or in the particular context. So he's basically saying that it has nothing to do with what you were born with or what your subconscious is like or your genetics or anything like that. He's basically saying that everything you do is because something in your environment prompted you or made you avoid it. So all your behaviour and all your personality basically comes down to your environment and the context of your environment. Now, there are some boring technical terms for what Skinner was describing, so I'll just quickly run through them. There is a conditioned stimulus, which is a stimulus that at the beginning of behavioural training does not elicit a predictable response from an organism. There is an unconditioned stimulus, which is a stimulus that elicits an automatic, natural and predictable response from the organism, and that response is called an unconditioned response. So an example of that may be an unconditioned stimulus may be a hot stove, and the unconditioned response to touching that hot stove is to pull your hand back straight away. That has been unconditioned. No one has taught you to do that. Your body has simply reacted to the environment and done it itself as an unconditioned natural stimulus and response. Now, something that I find really interesting about this theory, or Skinner's theory in general, is operant behaviour and operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is basically if the occurrence of an operant, so say a behaviour or response, is followed by the presentation of a reinforcing stimulus, the strength is increased. Now, this is really interesting, and this is how you train dogs, how you train children, how you train basically anyone. If you can do it in the right way, you can train most people to do whatever you want if you have the right reinforcing stimulus and rewards. Now, my lecturer for this subject did something that was really interesting, and I really liked it, and I had a go while I was at home, so I thought I should tell you guys, and you can try this at home too. Try this at home. Now, conditioning. So basically you are training someone to perform a certain behaviour by reinforcing them, giving them a reward every time they do it. Now, this happens naturally in life. Say a child cleans their room. You praise them, you give them a monetary or a material reward, and they are more likely to do it in the future because reward is definitely better than punishment. So my teacher demonstrated this on us by using M&Ms. Now, for me, M&Ms are a great reinforcement because I love them, hence why I have a pack lying around. So, if you want to learn how to slightly control or reinforce one's behaviour, listen up. Okay, now this is just a hypothetical situation in which you are sitting with someone. You happen to have a packet of M&Ms on you. That packet is open and you are eating them casually. Now, as you are talking to the person, before you give them any M&Ms, decide on a certain really specific and small behaviour that people naturally do while they talk, and decide that that will be the behaviour that you will reinforce and reward. Now, the example that was used in my class was when the subject touched around her mouth. So usually when you talk, you kind of like pick at your face or touch your nose or something like that. So whenever she went to touch her mouth, or kind of just that area in general, kind of just around here, my teacher would quickly give her an M&M. So decide on what you want to reinforce and kind of control, and as soon as they do that behaviour, every time, offer them an M&M. Every time they have that M&M, they will subconsciously recognise that that is a behaviour that they need to perform in order to receive the reward. So keep going with that. You have to ensure that as soon as they perform your desired behaviour, you give them a reward. There can't be any time lapse in between that behaviour and the reward. Their brain needs to recognise that as soon as they do that behaviour, they will get a reward. Obviously, if you don't tell them what you're doing, they pretty much won't have a clue what they're doing in order to receive this beautiful reward of an M&M. Now, this is where Skinner found something actually quite funny within animals and humans. You can also use this the opposite way. You can use this in an avoidant way. If you want someone to stop engaging in a particular behaviour, reward and reinforce them when they don't do it. So, say if you want to help your husband or wife lose weight, as soon as they go to the fridge and they don't pull out something fatty or they don't pull out something salty, give them a reward. Now, obviously, it would be very confusing and redundant if you were to use M&Ms, but try using praise or a kiss or a cuddle or touch. Now, there is a kind of an opposite side to this. Skinner called it extinction, in which when a reinforcer no longer follows a response, so when you stop giving that person an M&M for their behaviour that you want to reward, the frequency with which the response is made returns to the level that it was before the reinforcer was introduced into the situation. So just be aware of extinction. If you really want to focus on and attack one behaviour, you have to keep it up, or at least make an effort to keep that reinforcing happening. Now, there are quite a few more Skinner theories and strategies and concepts that we can go into, but I found those were the most interesting and applicable to everyday life, and a little bit of fun for you guys if you decide to try this out on your friends and family. I might do a couple more videos on different personality theorists, seeing as though that is what my study is based around. There's some pretty interesting people in the psychology world, most of them dead, but their theories kind of live on and are still applicable to everyday life. So I find that really interesting and engaging, that these people who were around 100 years ago are still applicable to what we're learning and what we're doing today in the psychology world. So thanks for listening, guys, and have a great day. Om nom 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 nom.